the original Season 3, Episode 13, Heart-Shaped Box. I like this episode because we finally, it didn't take a long time. Basically, it was introduced in the last episode, and we got an answer to it in this one. But we find out exactly what it is that will help unlink everyone from their sire bonds. And we finally got to see Aurora come back into play and really make her move against the people that hurt her. And what she did, I really enjoyed because, of course, they kind of had to do it because she did have, one over on Elijah, and I was like, alright, how do we make this work where she doesn't just instantly blow him away? But it makes sense, and it's because she doesn't want to kill Klaus. She wants to make him suffer. She wants to make him lose the same thing that she lost, which is family. And oddly enough, it works perfectly because they both lost a brother. So I like the fact that her plan was keep Elijah alive. He couldn't really do much, although I thought that he would be able to, because I didn't think of this until this episode. I've never thought of this before, but I'm guessing that they aren't so fast that they could stop a bullet in midair. I guess they aren't that fast. They don't have like Superman level speed. They can stop some arrows and stuff, but they can't stop, bullets coming out of guns. So watching that scene where it's like Elijah's in this cabin with Aurora and she has this really fancy gun, pointed at him. He's kind of just trapped there, and he tries to make it work when he's talking down to her and stuff, and she has like the sad face and everything like that. And he tries to get the gun, but it doesn't work, which I thought it should have, but then I was like, you know what? I can see her putting up a good enough fight because they were the first ever vampires. Like, they'd be able, more than any other vampire, if anyone could take on an original, it would be their very first, sires. So when that happened, I was thinking, like, man, he should have been able to basically, snatch the thing right out of her hand. And I was like, no, she's basically as old as they are. Like, it's literally one generation. So they're almost at the same level as far as strength, and I think that minimal difference, it's such a, there's never been any specifics on it. It's just older is stronger. But it would have to be so minute because they are the very next line, and she doesn't come from Elijah, but still the same thing. She comes straight from an original. She's the first of a certain original. So I thought that was, it was something that never really occurred to me. Like, I guess she would be able to put up a fight if she really needed to. She could go hand to hand with them, and it wouldn't be like, oh, it's possible, or, like, they should, just destroy her. It's like, no, she could easily overpower them if she just had enough skill, because she's almost as strong as they are. So I like that whole scene with her. I thought it was pretty well done. She kidnaps Freya early on in the episode, then she shoots her, and it's like, I'm going to shoot you in the stomach because that'll keep you alive. That's like a good way, you stay alive if you get shot in the stomach, as long as it's not like a very important section. If you get shot in the stomach, you'll bleed. You'll just keep bleeding. Like, you won't die from it, but at least not quickly, but you'll start bleeding, and obviously eventually you'll die from that. So I like the way that they did it, where, she shoots Freya, she knocks her out, and she does all this burial stuff. She digs all these fake graves, and she puts her blood inside of, I'm assuming all of them, but I love the way they did that. And I was thinking, Klaus has super speed, he should be able to, like, shoot through those things, and it really should be nothing, but nobody ever does it. And I know I've mentioned that before, but nobody ever does that, where it's like, they all have super speed. You would always use super speed no matter what you were doing, especially if it's to save someone else's life. You're going to dig at super speed. He would have been through like 5 of those, and it would have been like nothing. She wouldn't have died. But the way they solved it I thought was very cool, because Freya calls on Finn, and he helps her out, and he makes her blood float up. And I thought visually that looked really cool. When the CG of it, I thought it looked pretty good. And it actually reminded me of the game Fear, which I thought was funny. It was like, man, that makes me think of Fear. But I thought it was really cool how they did that. And then they had the footage on whatever those were. I'm trying to think of the name, because I don't believe it was Vervain. I think it was just like regular. I'm thinking Lilies, but I don't know. I know I have the name in my head, but I just can't think of what it is. But the footage that they had where the blood's like dripping up and it's in reverse, I thought that looked pretty cool. I was like, that's actually a nice a neat little random touch that they threw into the episode. And Klaus is able to find her super fast. So I was like, all right, that ended very quickly actually, because I thought that would be a big chunk where, Klaus would be out trying to get Freya, and then Elijah would be stuck with Aurora, and he'd be trying to convince her the whole time until they finally got there. But it was fairly quick. Fortunately, Freya saved Elijah because Klaus is like, you aren't going to pull that trigger. She was like, wrong again. So fortunately, Freya was there because she kind of threw her hand off a little bit, and it made her shoot the pillar. So that was good. Freya does end up passing out, though, but we know she's going to be fine. But Aurora does get a shot off in this episode because she totally missed Klaus. Or no, she didn't miss him, but she shot him like in the shoulder, so not good enough. And I love the scene after she shot him, and she's basically like getting a little bit closer, and she's about to do it again, and he grabs the side and just like throws it into her side. I thought that was actually pretty cool. And of course, it kept going back and forth because they kind of couldn't kill off, basically that she is kind of the main villain, even with Aya kind of doing her weird thing. It is, of course, still Aurora. And possibly Tristan, or not Tristan, Lucian. I keep mixing the names up, but who knows where the heck he is? Like, he just hasn't shown up whatsoever. Maybe he wants to stay out of it because he knows that Klaus would probably just kill him for having even saved Aurora and taking her from the house. So he's like, I saved her because I really cared about her, but I'm backing out of it, so maybe that's how to write it in or something. But I thought for sure we'd actually get to see him in this episode, but sadly he still hasn't really shown up. He's somewhere. He's not at his place, so he's just poof somewhere else. But I like the little fight that they had, and then it goes back and forth, and Klaus gets the gun, and then he has it on her, and he could easily kill her right there, but of course she knocks the gun away from him and then trips him, and then she has the gun, and then she shoots Elijah basically in his heart. But of course Klaus is able to get the bullet out. He has to snap Elijah's neck, which I thought was a kind of cool way to do that, because he's like, it just gets closer every time your heart beats. So he kills him off so that he can rip the bullet out of his brother and save his life. So that was actually pretty cool. We of course have the whole other side of this where we find out that the answer to breaking the bond is actually using Haley's heart, or at least an unsired heart, which I never even thought of that before. And I was like, I guess, yeah, technically she was turned, and I really can't remember because it was 2 seasons ago, but I guess something happened where she was dying and basically her baby saved her, so that's why she kind of became hybrid again. But it was really cool. Like, that was a really cool thing. It was like, they have to go after her. Haley had a great portion in this episode because she was helping Cammy kind of get regulated, which I enjoyed because, I just thought it was cool that Cammy was kind of coming back to her normal self. Because if she wasn't being super cool, where she wasn't exactly a villain, but she was doing like some really evil villain type stuff. If it wasn't that, then she was kind of getting on my nerves a little bit. I never mentioned that before, but when she was just like talking back with people and she was just like mad at them because her emotions are like super crazy because she's a new vampire. I never really enjoyed that too much, but it was when she was doing that stuff because she was like trying to get her items back and things like that. I like that stuff. That was really cool. But like when they were first talking and she was mad at Haley and stuff just because it's just like whatever, like I'm just mad. I never liked that stuff. It was very minimal, but it showed up, and that's why I never really mentioned it before because it was such a small thing, and it mostly came with a really good purpose. It was like Klaus took something from her, so she kind of went the evil villain route and took something of his, and of course all of that freaking screwed up. But I was glad to see her kind of getting back to normal a little in this episode, and Haley's teaching her how to fight, how to be stronger, because she has to embrace every aspect of who she is, and she can't only use her dark objects to protect her. So it was cool to see them have that fight after the fight broke up because the little coven came in. I thought that was pretty cool. I like the way they did that, where they just sent Haley flying and they broke through the gate, and then they sent her flying again and she broke through like some pillar or something. And I guess it was kind of foreshadowing because they ultimately explained exactly what would happen. But when they were first talking, Haley and Cammy's like, "Oh, I have this, and it'll paralyze anyone that tries to attack me." And we get to see her use it, and it didn't work at all like I thought. She had to like twist it and then put it down. I was like, "Oh, that's not the greatest weapon." I thought it would just be like she has it, and then if someone's coming at her, it would just like spring open. But it was like, no, she had to like twist it a couple of times. I'm like, that could easily backfire if someone has super speed. Which that was like the first thing that came up. I was like, that's precious time that super speed can easily defeat. But she takes down the first witch, and I can't remember exactly how they ultimately stopped the other two because they're basically just going back and forth. Like she paralyzed her, so Haley was able to get up, and then the other two witches come. It's like, all right, we messed you up, and then they switched over to Haley. Then they switched back, and then they had them both. So I kind of like the way that it played out. It was interesting. They were like, trying to rip her heart out and everything. And it was just crazy. Like, I was not expecting things to go the way that they went. But I certainly enjoyed it. And we got to see Cole with Davina again in this episode. And, he's really freaked out because he doesn't want to send anyone after Haley because he knows the attachment that they have. But ultimately, things kind of work out, I guess. And I mentioned this before. And I know Marcel did it because he didn't want Haley to get killed, and he's like, oh, they'd kill all of us, but of course he knew he would be safe. But he took Jackson's heart, and I don't know, it makes me wonder. Like, he said it like twice in this episode. It could easily be that he's still, just playing Aya, but he could also really want to be untethered. He could want to be unsired because he has great reason to want that, and I feel like they have the solution. They have the perfect solution. And when they mentioned that, I know they said like, oh, Jackson's is like a mirror image of hers, but I would assume everyone would be because their whole clan technically they're all hybrids now, so they're all part vampire that are completely unsired. But I guess maybe because they're alphas, they're unsired 100% because the other werewolves would be sired to them technically. So I don't know, maybe that's because I was thinking like, well, even if it wasn't Jackson's heart, wouldn't it be like any other vampire from their clan or werewolf from their clan? And granted, they'd probably have to travel because I'm pretty sure everyone from the clan is left, but they could just super speed. You can just run to another state like, all right, he's one of them or she's one of them, and boom, rip their heart out and you're good. But maybe it's specifically because they were the alphas of the pack. It kind of makes a bit of a difference. But I'm excited to see what happens in this next episode. I think this was a fun one. I think I was surprised by the fact that they gave us the answer after one episode and gave us the solution all in the same episode. It's like, alright, this is what it needs. It's going to be Haley's heart. Oh, that failed. Marcel doesn't want anyone to get killed, mostly himself, and he may or may not actually want this to work. So he comes up with the idea for to steal Jackson's heart. So now that they have that, they can be untethered. And I'm pretty sure in the promo that they showed them being really close to doing that, or actually doing it, because they captured both of them. And it's some weird dream sequence thing. So it's Aurora and Tristan, and I don't know if that... I don't know, the idea of that, because Aya does have Aurora kind of on her team, but she probably wouldn't bring her into the Strix, because that'll kind of, blow up in their face, and she knows Marcel isn't 100% on her team, so she sometimes might have to do things behind his back, because she did threaten to kill him, and he also kind of came in and stopped her from taking Haley's heart. So this is the episode where they butted heads, kind of as leaders, so now she's going with Aya. So I don't know if they're actually channeling Tristan, or if it's completely just meant to be illusions just to torture them, or what the deal is with that. But Elijah and Klaus get captured. Haley can't exactly go in there on her own, and Freya's a witch, and they have like 6 witches, so I don't really know what to expect. They don't exactly have a lot of other people that can help them out. Marcel's going to be there, and Davina's going to be there, unless they bring in Josh. I mean, there's like, Josh, Cammy, Haley, and Freya. That's still not enough. I mean, there's like dozens of Strakes, and we don't see them every episode, but they always show up, and it's just like a bunch of random people, and they're all really, really old, so they could easily take down both Cammy and Josh. So I don't know. Like I'm excited to see what happens in this next one, but I just don't see how they could possibly save them and get them out of it. So maybe they'll untether them and they'll leave them alive, or maybe they'll untether them and then Aya will act like she's leaving them and just be like whatever, and she'll let them go and tell Aurora exactly where they're headed or something like that. But I'm looking forward to this next episode. I'm curious to see if they do complete the mission in the next episode and they do unsire every vampire, at least from the two of them, because we still have everyone that's linked to. Oh man, I'm totally drawing a blank on her freaking name, Rebecca. So if she's not a part of that, then everyone will still be linked to her, which includes Aurora, which doesn't really mean anything because they aren't going to kill Rebecca off. But her people would still be linked to her. So I don't know. We still have to wait and see what happens with this prophecy. One by friend, one by foe, one by family, and everything. So who knows? I mean, Marcel could easily be that friend because I think that was something they mentioned in the very beginning when they brought up the prophecy. It was like, Marcel could probably be both, 100%. He could be both friend or foe. He could even be family. He was kind of a part of all three. So who knows? Like, we still don't know if this prophecy is going to be 100% or anything like that. But things are getting crazy. Crazier somehow. But I want to know what you guys thought about this episode. So please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. And now that we have, the answer to this unsiring spell, and we have Jackson's heart to actually complete the spell, I want to know what you guys think is going to happen because of that. I mean, if they unsire them, I would assume they'd go straight for the kill. At least Aya, probably for both of them, she'd probably try to kill them. Aurora, for sure, would want to kill Elijah, so I don't know. I just don't see either of them actually getting killed off, but I feel like they will actually accomplish being unsiring themselves for both of them. But I don't really know where that could lead because we know they won't kill off the originals. That's just how it's going to be. But it's crazy to think, how can they survive and it works? So I'm excited to see how they write out these next couple of episodes. But I definitely want to know what you guys think is going to happen and what you guys thought about this episode. So please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.